It's game day, and we're getting you ready for the Ravens and Eagles Battle of the Birds potential Super Bowl preview. Short trip down 95 for the Philly faithful and the Ravens flock already at the bank. 9-2 Eagles, 8-4 Ravens. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Roquan Smith is back. We're going to talk all about it and preview the game right here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you win and when you need it. Skip on that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. Leave us a like. Vote on the poll. Super chat us your thoughts. And, of course, go ahead and bulldoze that bell. We're getting ready to go live. Getting you ready for Ravens and Eagles. About an hour and a half away. You're home for Ravens football. The Flex Zone. It is week 13, and today we are previewing, giving you a pregame taste for the game of the week, the biggest game on this week's slate as we are in week 13, our second edition of the Baltimore Ravens pregame show. We did it last Monday for the Ravens. They eventually went on to beat the Chargers in the Hard Bowl, and we're doing it again today. Battle of the Birds, potential Super Bowl preview, and of course, I got my special guest with me. He is the creator, co-creator of this here podcast. He is the Flex Zone Messiah, the tribal chief, Philly's second son, because it's a second home to him. The one and only Drizzy Dre back in the place to be. Drizzy Dre, what's up, my guy?
Hey, man, always a pleasure.
Acknowledge me.
How you feeling, Dre? Week 13 already. Can you believe it, man?
No, I can't. The year, I mean, what, a month left in the, 2024. That just, it's been a year, but I can't believe that it's here. And I can't believe that this big of a game that we're about to have with a month left in the season either.
Before I get your initial thoughts on the game, we have Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, pretty much the two marquee names at the running back position. This is the second game to feature the top two players in scrimmage yards and touchdowns in week 13 or later since the 1970 merger. The other instance was Larry Johnson and LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006. Dre, when you hear that stat and you look at this matchup, running backs are still alive and well, my brother.
I mean, that stat, both running backs have over 1,300 yards. I mean, that's we haven't seen that in the NFL in quite some time with running backs. Like you said, the top two running teams, the dual threat quarterbacks, both teams are playing at a very high level. I think that this is, an exciting matchup. Honestly, if the NFL could have, I don't know why they didn't, but this should have been a flex game. This should have been a Sunday night game, man. I mean, yes, it's a 4:00 game, but this has that big-time feel to it, Sunday night football. I think it needs to be the marquee matchup of the day because we already know that Buffalo and 49ers game is not going to be it. Even though it's supposed to be a snow game, that's not going to be it.
Dre, let's look at the Eagles coming into this game. I believe winners of 7 in a row. They're 9-2. I know we talk about Detroit, but they came into the season. Nick Sirianni kind of on the hot seat. He started at least 7-2 or better. I think he's the only coach with some others who've done that. Do you think he is the coach that can get it done for them? And do you think they could go on to and win the Super Bowl?
I did have questions about Nick Sirianni, and I still have questions about Nick Sirianni. I think that a lot of the Eagles' success when they first went to the Super Bowl under the Nick regime is predicated on the coordinators he had. We seen what Shane Steichen right now, him with the Colts. If he can just get a quarterback, you see that the Colts will be a good team, and his defensive coordinator as well that he had in Philadelphia during that Super Bowl run. The coordinators he has now have made a hell of a difference in this Eagles team. You see that they're right there behind Detroit. Uh, and a legit threat to Detroit when it comes to the NFC. I think that the Eagles have the potential to get it done, but that's one of those teams to get it done in spite of their coach. It's not to say that he's not a good coach, but he has a lot of questionable things with him. And until proven otherwise, I can't definitively say that the Eagles will win a Super Bowl.
Eagles have started, I got it, 9-2 and better in 3 consecutive seasons, Dre. Nick Sirianni is the first Eagles coach with winning seasons in his first 4 years with the team, so not even Andy Reid did that. And only 5 coaches have opened 9-2 or better in 3 straight years. Sirianni, Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, Tony Dungy, and Mike Shanahan. So he has been up there with some big names. And the past 3 meetings, Dre, between these teams have been decided by 4 points. And each time it came down to a 2-point conversion as well, Dre. So you expecting another close game today?
Yeah, I mean, when you have 2 teams that run the football the way that they do, 2 really good teams, yeah, I do expect for it to be a close game. I mean, these are the top 2 teams, top two of the top teams in the NFL. And I also believe that, this is a matchup that a lot of us wanted for the Super Bowl years ago. We've been asking for this matchup, and we're finally going to get it. You have somebody who's been to a Super Bowl, somebody who's a multiple-time MVP. So I think it's very, exciting, and both sides of the football have things to prove.
Ravens 3-point favorites at home. You see the numbers there. Let's look at the injury report, Drake, because we got some great news this week.
It was announced
Roquan Smith is back today for the Ravens, and also Michael Pierce, defensive lineman. So you get somebody up the middle to help to try to stop a guy like Saquon running. I think Saquon's only faced the Ravens once when he was with the Giants. He had 83 yards and a touchdown. So we'll see. Ravens do have the number 1 rush defense. Go ahead, Dre.
But that was the time when the Giants actually beat us, and that's the only loss that Lamar has on his resume when it comes to facing the NFC. 23-1. I thought it was 22-1 when I was texting my line brother earlier, but I couldn't believe that it was 23-1. Wow, Lamar Jackson.
How do you feel about getting Roquan back today? Most importantly, more than anything, to help stop that boy Saquon, because he's a bad man.
I do. I mean, anytime you have our leader on defense, I'm always going to be excited about that. What I'm nervous though about isn't necessarily stopping the run, because the Ravens actually are a good defense when it comes to stopping the run. They struggle in the passing and closing games, and so until that part is fixed, I'm a little concerned because of their wide receivers, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. You have the threat of Saquon, who can also catch as well as run that rock. But in the fourth quarter, I mean, our secondary, they have to hone in and be able to stop those guys. And I don't know, a defense to really set the tone for that, because you don't want to play man, because A.J. Brown is such a big wide receiver, type of threat. And then, I mean, I don't think we've seen somebody the size of A.J. Brown on this level, maybe since Hines Ward, who was kind of like a guy who could really like be a big presence, and kind of like almost built like a linebacker, but at the wide receiver position. I mean, you could say the same thing with maybe like a Mike Evans, who is like that, but when I think about a Mike Evans, I don't think about like winning football. I think about like AJ Brown.
DK Metcalf. You got DK Metcalf. You had T.O. Dre back in the day.
You could say DK as well, but DK, the problem is DK, Mike Evans, they haven't really been on winning teams, so we haven't really featured them the way that we do AJ Brown.
Well, we look at Devontae Smith. Let's go to the Eagles side. He is on his way back from a hamstring as well. And we also have no Kyle Van Noy doubtful today with, I believe, a neck injury. So he's back, I think, hamstring and neck. So you gain some people, but you lose some people. But Devontae Smith, Dre, we talked about him at Alabama. We know you love Roll Tide, Alabama, and he won the Heisman. We talk about Travis Hunter. Devontae Smith kind of reminds me, that's how kind of Devontae Smith was. He just was that electric when he got the football, and he's still doing that at the NFL level. They really have two number one receivers with Devontae and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, it's almost unfair, but like I said, if the Ravens can manage to hone in on that secondary, then they should be fine. I know everybody's talking about Saquon and the MVP, but that's a real concern to me, the fact that they have so many weapons on offense, and that's why it's hard to stop this Eagles team.
Well, Dre, what are some of your keys to the game today? Because I do want to start on the offensive side. When you look at the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, I think sometimes people still don't necessarily believe in him. Maybe as a passer, we know he can run probably just as good as Lamar. He has the most rushing touchdowns of any quarterback, I think, in NFL history. Do you feel like Jalen Hurts? I think the key is keeping him in the pocket and making him throw. But when you got guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, you got Goddard. What is the key you think was stopping Jalen Hurts starting there with him? Because I think he is very underrated.
He is underrated. I think that after his Super Bowl year, his career kind of took a little bit of a dip, and that's also why we have questions around Nick Sirianni as well. But Jalen Hurts is no quarterback to overlook. I mean, he does what he does, and I mean, it's partly because of his dual threat. These two are the most dual threat quarterbacks, and then you could put Kyler Murray right under there as quarterbacks who can run and who can throw the football. I think the key to today's game, though, actually is I think really locking up the receivers and making sure that Saquon doesn't go off. I don't think it's really too much about their quarterback too much. I know the quarterback touches the ball a lot, but in this case, I feel like Jalen Hurts, yes, he can escape the pocket. Yes, he can throw the rock, but you have to be able to lock those receivers. If he doesn't have time to throw to those receivers or give it to Saquon Barkley, then I think that's the best way to contain him, as opposed to focusing on, hey, we need to just contain him in the pocket and not let him run the football. I think that there are other things to his game, so that way I think you stop him in that fashion. And
Big shout out.
Thank you for the
Don. Appreciate it, Don C. Thank you for the support and continue to tune in. We'll show love to you as well. Well, Dre, you talked about Jalen Hurts. Let's go to Saquon. How do you stop a guy like Saquon? It's easy to say stop the run, or the Ravens have a good run defense. But for those out there, how do you stop a guy like Saquon? He can run between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. I even said in the offseason, I wanted Saquon over Derrick Henry just because of the explosiveness of a Saquon where he can catch and run. Like, how do you stop it?
You did say that, but I don't think the Ravens did bad getting Derrick Henry, like you said earlier.
Oh no, they did great.
So we got it's two of the top running backs right now in the National Football League. The way you stop Saquon Barkley, tackle. You cannot. I mean, they keep talking about the stats about him. His yards before he even gets tackled. But my main thing is with the Ravens today, make sure you wrap up these guys and bring them down. Because if Saquon breaks a tackle, he misses a tackle, and he gets loose, then it's lights out from there. You have to today make sure you tackle him. Even if he's gaining 4 or 5 yards, make sure you wrap this guy up, bring him down, and next play, keep it going, because I don't think that there's a real way to stop this offense other than try as your best to make sure that they're in short yardage. Give them short yardage so that way they're on like 3rd and longs as opposed to it's like a 3rd and 1s. You want to be able to on 3rd down make sure that they're going for long distances.
Dre, let's go to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and you can and Goddard. They got a good tight end as well, Dre. We know Ravens have had struggles up the middle, but you get Roquan back. How do you stop receivers? And we always say, get pass rush. But the Eagles, I got to touch on this. They probably have the best offensive line, maybe outside the Lions in the NFL as well. So the Ravens going to have to win against that O-line, which is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, when I was looking at film earlier from both CBS and Fox, and they showed the Eagles and how they played such together as an offensive line. But the Ravens, they said that we do the same thing and that's why Derrick Henry and Saquon can go off for the yards that they go off of. I think today to stop the receivers, don't play man. I think that's hurt us a lot in the past too. We just don't have the soldiers to be able to keep up with that. So I think that today, you might be able to play some man, but you want to do a lot of zone today. You got to mix it up so that way it confuses this Eagles team, and make sure that I'd honestly double up on Brown. And then keep maybe a spy over there for Smith just in case, so that way he's not going off. That way he's not going off. You can't have either of those guys really going off for big chunks of yards, especially Smith. Like we talk about A.J. Brown and what he's been able to do, but if you let Smith go, I mean, that can be a home run, like how Zay is a home run to us. He can be a home run guy. So I think that you have to mix up the coverage, but make sure that you really double up on Brown so that way you're not and keep a spy on Devontae Smith.
All right, let's go to the other side of the ball. It starts in with MV3 Jackson, Lamar Jackson, the champion, the Jackson, Mr. Ball So Hard University, much like yourself, the grade 8, whatever you want to call him, Action Jackson. You always been riding with Lamar, good, bad, and different, even through the goofiness of the contract. And when he wasn't playing his best, he's clearly on another level this year. But we've seen they can play from behind Dre. He can throw it 30 times and win. He can throw it 10 times and they can win. He can not run at all. He can still run if you want him in to do that. Make the spectacular plays. Only 3 interceptions on the season. What are you expecting from Lamar today? I think my key is if he's the best player on the field, the Ravens are going to win.
So I expect a good game from both quarterbacks, but I don't think that it really comes down to Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson, we expect for him to do what he's going to do what he's doing. The key to me is Derrick Henry. There was a stat I saw from ESPN about, I think the Ravens only have like one loss when Derrick Henry touches the football about 15 times, and when it's 20 or more, the Ravens are undefeated. And when you look at the Eagles, their linebackers, they're kind of small guys. I mean, they had a interview earlier with 2 of them, and these guys aren't that big. If you got Derrick Henry back there, run the football and make sure keep pounding those guys. And I think that that's the key to this game, as opposed to Lamar Jackson going back there, throwing for a bunch of numbers. Make sure that Derrick Henry tires these guys out, and he's such a big presence running the football. It's going to be hard and wear down on the Eagles after a while.
As you can see, the rushing yard leaders, as Dre alluded to, Saquon Barkley 1392, Derrick Henry 1325. These guys are averaging 6 yards a carry. That's like video game, high school, college football numbers. Josh Jacobs doing his thing, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chuba Hubbard in Carolina, most rushing touchdowns. Derrick Henry's had a touchdown in every game, Dre. Look at Jalen Hurts. He's right behind Derrick Henry, Dre. Like I said, he has 11 rushing touchdowns. And then you have most total touchdowns, Derrick Henry with 15, Saquon with 12, Jamar Chase in there with 12 as well. And I think Saquon only has 2 more carries than Derrick Henry. So I'm loving this because I feel like it's going to be a old school black and blue kind of. Remember those old Ravens Steelers games, 14 and 17, 14, maybe 21-17. It's going to be who can run the ball and grind it out the most, because I don't think it's going to be a lot of explosive plays. But I think whatever team commits to the run, like you said, over 20 carries for Henry, I think is a magic number.
Let me bring this point up too, Byron. Can you bring up the Eagles' schedule? Because I want to.
I got you, brother. Go ahead.
I want to show our viewing audience something. that nobody's really talking about.
Yes, sir. Got that pulled up right here for you, good brother. All right, 2024
Like,
season, which they did start in Brazil, by the way.
ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to really look at this this Eagles schedule. Right there, Packers, Packers, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jags, Cowboys, Commanders, Rams, us. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the Eagles schedule, though they are 9-2, they only have played as a tough opponents, the Packers and the Commanders. Outside of that, they have not really played anybody today. I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens because of that. When you look at their schedule compared to what the Baltimore Ravens have this season, it's been a lot harder of a schedule. I think that the Eagles will get tested today. I feel like this will be a close game. These are two good teams. I'm not saying that the Eagles aren't a good team, but they haven't really faced opponents the way that the Ravens have. When you look at the fact that we've played Kansas City, Buffalo, we've played the Steelers. Like we've had some opponents who have given us a bit of a run. Even the Chargers, you can put them as a team right in there, right in the mix. And of course the Bengals, but it's a divisional game. They've given us a run. But I think that when you look at the Ravens are really more battle tested than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's a huge point that a lot of people are overlooking.
Dre, how do you feel about going into the bye? Because if you can win today, you get to 9-4. We don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. We'll talk about those games in a minute, but you get the bye, then you get the Giants. Giants are probably going to be the number one pick in all likelihood, if not number two. Then you got the Steelers again, Texans on Christmas, and the Browns. The Ravens could really logistically, I'm not trying to get ahead of ourselves, put the horse before the cart. They could run the table or at least go 4-1 in the last 5.
Yeah, that's what. At this point, you need to only be at max 4-1. You want to have that win against the Steelers, so that way you can get that divisional lead. When you look at the Steelers' schedule, it's not favorable, but the Ravens have a more favorable schedule because outside of Pittsburgh, Houston, and the Eagles are going to be our toughest matchups. While we have to face Pittsburgh again. They got to face the Chiefs. And I believe they have to face the Eagles as well. So Pittsburgh has a pretty tough schedule, but the Ravens, we either need to run the table or go 4-1 maximum with our games. And I believe that it is possible.
All right, Dre, I want to touch on the receivers of the Ravens. We talked about King Henry. We talked about Lamar. You, Raj, y'all have still been saying, go get a D-Hop. Go get a Cooper Kupp. Go get a Brandon Ayuk. Go get whoever you want to insert receiver one there. But we've seen over the last few weeks, Bateman. We've seen Tylan Wallace. They got Deontay Johnson. Still waiting for him to unlock. Of course, Zay and Andrews. Those are Lamar's guys. Likely we've seen him have a connection with Lamar. Nelson Aguilar, former Eagle. So look out for him today. He may be looking to make a play against his former team. He makes a big play every now and then. The Eagles, though, 2 rookies in the secondary. Quinyon Mitchell, who is looking like Sauce Gardner was his first year, locking everybody down. Cooper DeJean, the white boy. Yes, he's a white corner in the NFL in 2024. Haven't seen that since, I don't know, John Lynch back in Tampa. Dre, I can't think of a corner doing this thing like that. Then they got Blankenship, the other safety. He's really good. And then, like I said, they got no Darius Slay today also, Dre, for the Eagles. So secondary there. But they play a lot of man coverage. They like to lock up receivers. Can the Ravens receivers win today? Because I think that's going to be a key on those crucial downs when they have to throw.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one thing that Lamar does well in this season is that it's been some dink and dunk. Not necessarily going for the home run, and when the home run is there, he does try it, and you do have to be able to open up the game, throw it down deep. But I think it's going to come down to a lot of dink and dunk. I think that Zay Flowers can get those little chunk yards. Same thing with Andrews, and then you can start opening it up. Have Zay get there for a big play, or likely to open things up. But I think that it comes down to just dinking and donking when it comes to that. If these guys are open or have a split hair, throw that rock. Make sure that you get those tight windows and be able to win each down, as opposed to getting the home run or trying to score a touchdown, or making sure that um, you are always going straight for the first down, as opposed to just getting those little yardage, because you also want to take time off the clock as well, in addition to running the football.
All right, we got some surprises here. I got some breaking news. We got the official inactives in for the game today. That's why I like doing these pregame shows, because I don't get to cover everything during the preview, because things change up until kickoff pretty much 90 minutes before. That's when all the injury reports come out. We got some surprises. I'm going to pull it up from Jeff Zreback of The Athletic about some guys playing and not playing today. So we have Keaton Mitchell inactive. Let me pull up the tweet. We got Keaton Mitchell inactive, Devontae Walker, who's been inactive, Nick Samick, Van Noy inactive, Marcus Williams inactive. He's been inactive as well. He's pretty much been a dud. I don't know what happened there. And Rasheen Ali getting the call instead of Keaton Mitchell. So Keaton Mitchell, another weapon, not really being used. Anything with these inactives that surprise you?
Van Noy, I mean, that sucks to not have him out there. I would probably say that in Keaton Mitchell, but then again, we have Hill, so the running backs should be fine. But I think Van Noy, I think that's the one that stands out to me.
No, Michael Pierce as well. Looks like he was not activated, so he will not be back. He will probably be back after the bye. So not sure what's going on there with the Keaton Mitchell situation, but we'll keep our eyes out. Dre, got to talk about special teams. We always talk about that on the podcast. Sometimes people forget it, but we don't. We know Tucker's been kind of an issue all season. Did make his kick last week. Are you confident in Tucker today? It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. We know Raj will be out there. We'll get his report later on in the post game. But yes, Raj. Speaking of Raj, yes, no Keaton Mitchell, Raj. Appreciate you, man. I know you ain't waiting down to the stadium. I hope stay warm, my brother. We're praying for you. Can't wait to talk to you later. I know you got a lot to say, but no Keaton. Yes, no Keaton. Go ahead, Dre. Special team.
I know how he feels about Keaton Mitchell, man. But look, we'll be fine when it comes to that. Special teams, man. I'm trying to give Tucker a chance, but he's got to pull through. This is one of those games when we need Justin Tucker to pull through, pull his weight, and we're going to need all the points that we can get, because I think that it's going to be a close game, and it's going to come down to points. We've seen that with a couple of our games that we've had, like the Pittsburgh game, for example, when it was about 6 points left on the board that we didn't get. I think about even the Browns game, him missing a field goal, and then that could have been a difference maker for us. So this is going to be one of those Justin Tucker games. He has to be able to pull through, and we have to be able to win the yards, because yards are going to matter, and the yards and field position are going to matter in this football game.
Looks like we will have David Ajabo playing. Well, of course, David Ajabo. We got David Ajabo playing as well, Dre. So I guess, Dre, I'll give you the final word on this game. What's your prediction? And if you want to do a score, you can do that as well. Anything else you want to throw in there as well?
My final prediction is that I think the Baltimore Ravens win this football game. I think it's going to be close. The Eagles, I think that this is going to be the first of many of their tests when it comes to this NFL season. This is when football really begins, because now you have teams who are making playoff pushes. Like I said, when you look at the Eagles schedule compared to the Ravens schedule, they haven't really been as battle tested or faced a team like the Ravens compared to the road that the Ravens have taken on. So I got the Ravens winning. I'm not really saying it also because it's a home game. I'm saying it because I'm just looking at the totality of the situation. But I think that both quarterbacks and both running backs have dynamic games. But in order to win this football game, it's going to be one of those King Henry type of games.
I agree with you, Dre. I have the Ravens in a lower scoring game. I'm going like 27-20. Nah, like 24-20, something like that. 27-24 maybe. Something a little low scoring. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be like you said, high score.
Dre, you want to look at some of these early games real quick before we get out of here and get ready for the game? I know you got get yourself ready for the game.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's go back to Thanksgiving real quick, Dre, because they did have 3 games on Thanksgiving. What the hell is going on in Chicago? I know we'll talk more about it tomorrow. Matt Eberflus, he gone, and he just had terrible clock management. I know people want Harbaugh to go, but he ain't doing nothing. That's egregious. The Lions beat the Bears 23-20. Lions 11-1. I guess our dream of the Bears making the playoffs is done.
Oh yeah, get one of those forks, man. It's been over, Byron. Since that Washington game, it's been over, honestly. When you just look at that, I mean, I already can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be one of the goofies of the week. So, spoiler alert. The Cowboys, we knew that they were going to beat the Giants. That was no surprise. And then the Dolphins losing in cold weather, Green Bay, that's no surprise either.
Speaking of goofy of the week, Dre, talking about it was too cold. What?
We knew that the minute this game was in. If this game was in Florida, it would have been a completely different game. But the fact that it was in Green Bay,
I'm about to go rob something.
That game. I turned it off.
Y'all know me.
This
I'm
one of those nights I was
dangerous.
SmackDown was still on Thursdays, man.
But yeah, no, I don't know why I picked the Dolphins. I tried to gain a game, and I probably lost multiple games. But like you said, Thanksgiving. I mean, if it wasn't for the injuries, I guess the second game would have been a little bit better. But it is.
And then speaking of goofies, then you can go into the game the next day with the Chiefs and the Raiders. I don't know what in the world that snap was.
I was to say, I mean, are the Chiefs just not going to lose?
I told you, man. I think that they're going to run the table at this point. I mean, I think the only team to stop them is the Ravens, but the Ravens have to show it. Just like Sirianni has to show with the Eagles that he can coach his team back. I think that the Ravens have to. I'm sorry. I think that it has to be proven that a team can beat the Chiefs. I mean, yes, the Bills gave them a loss, but you also have to look at the totality of it. Can they do it in the playoffs? Regular season is fine, but in the during the regular season, the Chiefs have just done it. And that 9 out of 11 games have been one-score games, and they only lost one game this calendar year. So, right now the Chiefs are still the head of the table.
Yeah, Don C, we live stream pretty much every day, but our main podcast is Monday nights at about 10:20, 10:30. So if you don't get the notifications, I understand, brother. We'll be here. We'll be live after the Ravens game today, and we're usually live after every Ravens game, and we're live after Commanders games as well. So we do it all here. Wrestling, if you're wrestling content also. So we got you there. Dre, let's go to today, some of the early games. Let's go to we'll start here. Chargers and Falcons, 17-13. I picked the Falcons, but this could go either way.
Yeah, I think it's one of those go either way type of games, but I favor the Chargers in this football game. Yes, it's an away game, but if this was like in a cold weather environment, I might have said that the Chargers might have lost, but I think that after a loss on Monday Night Football, the Chargers are going to be amped up and ready to play. But the Falcons, it wouldn't surprise me if the Falcons was able to pull this off, but I'm a favor of the Chargers.
Big game in the AFC North. I know you all picked the Steelers. I picked the Bengals kind of go against the grain, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers won because apparently, according to Don C, Russ is cooking today.
I mean, the Bengals have just been off this whole season, man. And it's really, when you look at Joe Burrow could be in the MVP race with the numbers he's putting up. Even, I think, better than a Josh Allen, who a lot of people are trying to favor and give him the MVP. But that defense, man, is so egregious over there with Cincinnati that I don't know what Joe Burrow is going to be able to win, man, until they're able to turn that thing around.
To your point, Dre, Joe Burrow is tied for touchdown passes with Lamar Jackson. So if the Bengals were just a decent team, he would be in the MVP race himself.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals, Vikings, Dre, I did pick the Cardinals. I thought they would bounce back after last week. I still am not believing in the Vikings. They got Daniel Jones, 19-13. They're winning right now, but it looks like the Vikings are trying to wake up. This is an interesting game. If the Cardinals can win this, they may be for real.
I would be surprised if the Vikings lost this game. I think that their defense and maybe they've taken a little bit of a dip midway through the season, but the Vikings should still be able to win this football game. The Cardinals have just been a roller coaster all year. I think that the Vikings can still pull it out. There's plenty of time left in this game.
Yeah, the Vikings are loaded offensively, man. Their quarterback can just connect with it. Just Jefferson and Jones. Colts, Patriots. I picked the Patriots. I like what I've seen from Drake May, Anthony Richardson. I mean, I don't know. The Colts are on life support, 5-7. Is it a WC? Are you just doing the old Dre hand wag?
Colts should win. The Colts should win this football game. Should even be.
Seahawks and Jets. The Seahawks can't lose to the Jets, right, Dre? Not Mike McDonald losing to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
It's possible, man. Both these teams aren't all that, but I mean, I would have thought that the Seahawks would have been winning this game. I mean, the Jets are due for a victory, but no, it's like I said, this is one of those games too. There's still time left in the football game. At this point, what they probably need to do is just probably really run the football at this point. I mean, the Jets have given up on their season and they're ready to just move on. They don't even want to play. They've been saying they've been packed it in, throw the towel in, and gave the 1-2-3 Cancun months ago since October.
And Dre, real quick, not to harp on the Jets, and we'll talk more about it as the coaching searches begin, but is that the least desirable job in the NFL? You're not going to have Aaron Rodgers. He's old. You need a new GM. You don't have any probably. What do you have? I mean, you got a couple good young players, but you don't have anything to work with.
What the three openings right now are the Jets, Bears, and the Saints.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars will probably be there, and maybe another team. The Giants.
Giants. We know it's going to be even more than that, Byron. I could see about one other team in the mix, not coming off the top of my head. I have to look at the 32 teams, but I know it's going to be more, at least 6 this NFL's after the season. I think you're right. When I'm thinking about it, even the Saints probably have a better positioning job than the Jets right now. I mean, you're unsure about ownership. You just got rid of the general manager and the head coach midway through the season. It doesn't look like stability at all right there. I think that's probably the least desirable job. And then you also don't know the status of your quarterback, who Aaron Rodgers. We don't know if he's staying, going, and he has no guaranteed money next year.
He says he wants to be in New York, so maybe he'll play for the Giants. I don't know. That's a terrible job, but I'll come to the local teams in a second. Jaguars, Texans. Trevor Lawrence got the stuff knocked out of him. The Texans are winning that division, Dre, but it's not probably as dominant as we thought.
Yeah, they've had injuries, and I think right now there's just a sophomore slump when it comes to their quarterback, C.J. Stroud. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not making the impact that they did last year.
Real quick, the Commanders were putting a beating on the Titans, 28-10, and I think the Titans are trying to score, though.
Who cares? Commanders still going to win this football game. Titans don't have a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes back there at the quarterback position. They ain't coming.
Rams Saints. Are you going with the Rams? I'm sure.
The Rams.
Buccaneers Panthers could be a close game. I don't know. I picked the Panthers.
Yeah, I picked the Bucs. I think that Baker Mayfield is going to lead this team to at least they got to at least make a playoff push. Maybe not get in, but at least make a push.
I know you're rolling with the Ravens over the Eagles, and then 49ers Bills in the snow.
Nah. Bills. I mean, everybody should see that. Too many injuries with the 49ers right now.
You never know. Monday night, Browns, Broncos. Buckle your seatbelts. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, who cares? Broncos.
Oh, Dre, this is always fun, my guy. How you feeling? And what can the people look forward to on the channel? We got more content coming today. And the rest of the month, the rest of the new month, rest of this year, 2025. Crazy thing.
Yeah, I can't believe, like I said, the year is over, but looking forward to people like Don, man. Thank you for liking, subscribing, tuning in. We appreciate your feedback and your support. It's a lot that we still want to do, still have yet to come. and things that we're looking forward, not only to close out this year, but also looking forward to 2025 and seeing how we can be better and always make the show better for you guys. That we appreciate everybody that again tunes in, likes, and subscribes to this. Y'all believe in us, and we believe in y'all, and we listen to y'all. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Drizzy Dre. I know you're getting ready for the game. Are you going to the Eagles bar amongst your people? I know you love a city of brotherly love. Are you getting a cheesesteak and going to the Eagles bar repping Boston Hall University?
Look, I may be bold like CM Punk, but I ain't stupid either. I mean, unless it was me and my cousin going, then I mean, the Philly fans and Chicago fans, man, you got to have at least one soldier with you being ready to swing. So if I don't have my cousin with me, then I'm just going to probably kick it at another bar. But this is one of those games you gotta watch it somewhere.
Yes, sir, Dre. I know we got about an hour till game time. Thanks for joining me on your football Sunday. I don't know if you'll be with me later for the post-game show, but Raj is at the game. He'll be here with me, giving me an account of the weather, the crowd, the vibe, what he saw at the game, and just how does he feel after the game, and probably an appearance from the OTC, Drizzy Dre, if he's available as well. And tomorrow, Dre, Monday, a special interview. A person returning back to the
Yes. Yes, Matthews Corey will be
here.
He'll be our special guest tomorrow. Can't wait to hear his take on what's going on with sports, and also his experience at the Olympics. That is a dream for so many, and he was able to live the dream. Can't wait to hear that.
Yes, episode 468, keeping it great. Flex Zone closing out 2024 and hitting into 2025 strong. We were live yesterday for Survivor Series. We were live for SmackDown. We'll be live this week for SmackDown, of course, AEW, and NXT, Dre. Next Saturday as well, we'll be live for that. And heading into Saturday night's main event and the first Raw on Netflix, which we'll be live for as well. But Dre, executive producer and the co-founder of this here podcast, God's favorite host, associate producer, signing off. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Go Ravens. We'll see you for the official Baltimore Ravens post-game show after the game. Don C, come back, join us. We'll be doing it again. And if you're a Commanders fan or just want to see more of my face, we're doing 3 streams today. This is the first of 3. We're going to have the Commanders-Titans post-game as the Commanders are looking to get a win, get back on track, and we'll be back on the Ravens and Eagles. Ray may be back. We'll be back tomorrow Monday. Next on another week of content. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's game time. Go enjoy it.